Dragon's Descent is the tallest amusement ride in all of Maine. Located at Funtown, USA, this is a 220-foot or 67-meter tall S&S turbo drop tower. Between the views and thrills, this is a really good drop tower, and I'll explain why in this review. Dragon's Descent opened in 2001. At the time, it was the tallest thrill ride in all of New England, beating out Superman at Six Flags New England. The ride held that record for 13 years, until Six Flags built New England's Sky Screamer. Dragon's Descent is located next to the main entrance. This is the plot of land where Hydro Fighter once stood. Dragon's Descent makes one heck of an impression. It dominates this park's skyline, and it can be seen from anywhere within the park. The large tower looks particularly imposing from the parking lot because nothing in the park is even half its height. For 20 years, the tower was painted white, but recently it got a flashier paint scheme. It now has a blue, green, and purple paint scheme going up the tower. I also love the sounds this ride makes. The boom from the compressed air tank can be heard anytime it cycles. The ride also has a decent amount of theming. The ride has its very own plaza. To access it, you walk underneath this dragon statue. The scale and detailing on it is very impressive. It is probably the single best photo opportunity in the entire park, and for good reason. The garden outside the ride has multicolored Chinese lanterns strung from the overhead wires. Then the operator booth is a classic pagoda. Until Haunted Hotel opened in 2023, this was the park's best themed ride. When you want to ride this attraction, you pass a clever sign saying "May the G-Force be with you." Then you enter a large set of switchbacks. I suspect this could easily have over an hour wait if full, but in all my years visiting this park, I have never seen more than 2 or 3 of them full. This ride typically has a 10 to 15 minute wait for me. That is even with this ride not having the greatest capacity. The gondola holds a max of 12 riders per cycle. There are 4 sides, each seating 3 guests. If you are solo or willing to split up, you may get to board faster. This seating configuration often leads to an empty seat or 2 every cycle, and the crew is good about calling out for single riders. Dragon's Descent was recently impacted by a restraint change. S&S asked that all their older drop towers be upgraded with new ratcheting restraints, or add an additional lap belt. Funtown, like many parks, chose the latter. It was presumably quicker and cheaper. On the bright side, this lowered the height requirement for Dragon's Descent. For many years, riders had to be 52 inches tall to ride. Now they need to be just 48 inches tall, which allows kids to ride it a year or 2 earlier. On the downside, it does slightly restrict your airtime and increase load times. Riders need to secure their seatbelt before pulling down the overhead restraint, but not everyone does this, so employees have to make multiple passes. They first go around to make sure everyone's seatbelt is secure, then the shoulder harnesses are lowered, and employees make a second pass to check those. Then a second employee usually comes by to double check the restraints. Those shoulder restraints are similar to the older S&S towers. They're comfortable on me, and the ones on Dragon's Descent seem to be a bit looser than others, so I tend to have a fair bit of room. Once checked, the ride slowly raises into the air and pauses for a few seconds. You then continue rising atop the tower, and the views are fantastic. You can see for miles in each direction. The 2 sides facing the dragon statue look over the water park, and in the distance, the Atlantic Ocean. On a clear day, you can even see the nearby Palace Playland amusement park. The back 2 sides give an aerial view of the amusement park and miles of woods. No matter which side you get, the views are wonderful. Once at the top, you pause for several seconds. These are your last moments to take in the sights, but most people will be hyper-focused on the imminent plunge. There's no warning, so it's very suspenseful. The drop is forceful too. much more so than other SNS turbo drops I have ridden. Since you are shot down faster than gravity, you get a good burst of airtime and a brief stomach drop sensation. The carriage does start decelerating shortly thereafter, but that initial release is a rush. At the bottom, you get blasted with positive Gs, and then you rebound back into the air. You then bounce up and down until coming to a stop. These subsequent bounces don't offer any notable forces. They're mellow, and they give you some extra time to take in the views of the park. You then return to the ground and disembark, ending the experience. So, what would I rate Dragon's Descent? I would give this ride an 8 out of 10. This is a great drop tower, and it's the park's most thrilling ride. I love the views, and the drop has nice power to it. The airtime is brief but powerful, and you get that surge of positive Gs at the bottom to contrast. In general, I prefer drop towers from other manufacturers that fall at the speed of gravity. These drop towers typically offer a better freefall sensation for me and more sustained airtime. Compare that to SNS towers that usually have a quick pop at the start and a more controlled plunge. But Dragon's Descent is the best pure SNS turbo drop I've experienced. The drop has more oomph than usual when you're launched downwards, allowing it to offer thrills that more favorably compare to other towers. So those are my thoughts on Dragon's Descent at Funtown USA. What are your thoughts about this ride? Do you agree it's the best SNS turbo drop? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.